What? She's opening in the Doll's House, and she's got wonderful notices in Newcastle.
Sheila, you did well. Isn't that fabulous?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you like rehearsing? Do you find
I love
rehearsal?
it.
Oh, really?
I so much prefer it to actually doing it.
Yeah.
Well, you can experiment and try all sorts of things, and once you've opened, you feel you have to sort of more or less stick to the same whatever else you did on the first night.
Yeah.
And you don't want to surprise your other actors too much.
Do you ever get nervous before you go on?
Yeah, first nights are horrible.
Oh, really?
Absolutely horrible. Actors are up chucking in the wings, and they're muttering, and they're crossing themselves, and they're dashing to the lavatory. It's dreadful.
It's shocking, isn't it? What,
yeah.
And the tension backstage.
It's horrible.
And nobody speaks?
No.
No. It's like on the electric chair.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this your first time doing Chekhov?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I've always avoided it before, because I've always been bored stiff when I've seen... I shouldn't say that, but you know, I sit in the in the audience and I think, oh, come on, you're just moaning. I want to go to Moscow. Well, go.
There's a ticket.
Bugger off.
Single, exactly. Sing it up and get out of town and don't come back. Now, your character, she's quite irresponsible, isn't she?
Oh, she's heaven.
Yeah.
Absolute heaven. I love her. She's very emotional. One minute she's laughing, the next she's crying. She's a long way from me.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to take a bit of a journey to find her.
You're nothing like her.
I'm nothing.
No.
I'm very direct.
Yeah, yeah.
You might have noticed.
I have. I've got to tell you this. I read a lovely interview with you, and you said in it at the end, I drink a bottle of red wine before I go to bed every night. And I thought, well, if it's good enough for Dame Diana Rigg, it's good enough for me. So I'm in the house in Kent on my own. I demolish a bottle of red wine. I am hammered. I'm ricocheting off the walls. And I'm thinking, my God, this woman's tough. And then I heard you on Parky on the radio the next day saying it was a misprint. It was a glass of red wine. I thought, there's a girl after my own heart.
I bet it gave you a good night's sleep.
I didn't get to the bed. I collapsed on the stairs. So when does the play open?
It's a good question. I think, yeah, May. Sometime in May, in Chichester.
Chichester.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not worried? No, you don't seem at all
I'm not
bothered.
worried.
No. No.
I will be come the first night. I shall be a dithering mess.
I'll send you a bottle of red
Oh,
wine.
please.
You know, I saw you in Abelard and Eloise. Eloise. Is it Eloise? Abelard and Eloise.
Yeah, you saw a lot of me, didn't you?
Well, it was... It was the first time I'd ever seen anybody naked, let alone a naked lady. I mean, really.
Did you come from one of those families where everything was... So did I.
Yes. I mean, you never saw any nudity.
No, and
nothing.
they never discussed it.
Never.
Sex?
Never.
What?
What? I was given a pamphlet when I was 12. Seriously. And it was all about men planting seeds. And I thought it was a gardening manual. So you did me a great favour. Oh, that's what they look like.
Oh, yeah.
But it was beautifully lit, and it was a wonderful production with Keith Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We toured England, and we reached Newcastle, and this nude scene, as you say, was beautifully, very subtly lit. And somebody had bribed the electrician, and suddenly we were in the full glare.
Like a burlesque show.
And you've never seen two actors collapse quicker.
Guys.
Keith went.
Did you come from that kind of background where it was all very...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if anybody kissed on the television, it was kind of... My father would cough. You know. And there'd be a kind of rustle of the newspaper. And there was a wonderful phrase, eyes on sandals. Yeah, it was something naughty coming up on the screen. Eyes on sandals.
I remember The Naked Civil Servant with John Hurt when that was first shown.
Yeah.
My mother was knitting.
Yeah.
And she suddenly twigged what the subject matter was about. Get that off, get that off, get that off. As soon as I went over to leave it alone, leave it alone.
I remember once when I was very young, I was shelling peas for my grandmother, and there was a book which had been serialized in the newspaper, and I came across this steamy sex scene, and I was shelling peas faster and faster. I can't have been more than 8 or 9, going, really? And my granny came along and saw what I was reading. Well, the row.
The you-know-what hit the fan.
Yeah.
You know what? It's your fault that I'm here today.
Why?
The Avengers.
Oh, really?
Do you know what I loved about The Avengers? As far as I'm concerned, nothing can touch The Avengers. I mean, it's a classic British series. It's wonderful. It was the humour I loved.
Yeah.
It was that acid-Sloan relationship between Mrs. Peel and Steed. I just loved it. And I thought London was Regent's Park, beautiful flats in Primrose Hill, fabulous cars on deserted streets. I got to Euston, somebody nicked me case. Seriously.
Where did you live when you first came here?
At Camden Town.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. It wasn't too far from Primrose Hill,
No.
but there was no sign of Avengerland.
Yeah.
You know, but I love that. I still do. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm writing my book at the moment, and to help me remember, I'm playing the DVDs in the background.
It's funny, isn't it? Because when you're young or growing up, you associate films, music, television to certain periods of your life, don't you?
Yeah. And the Avengers, for me,